Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here. We're back with another multiplayer strategy video to tide you over during the summer of disruptions to our regular Q&A schedule. One of the most interesting things we've done recently is try to use every challenge character in the week of their repeat challenge, starting with November 2022. And there are a few characters that we have liked from the get-go and some that just haven't appealed. It's part of the reason that for many years we had specific teams that we would use while certain characters just didn't get very much play. And so a lot of times we discover things about characters that we thought we didn't like that turn out to be pretty good. But the real surprise is finding new uses for characters that we already like. So Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight, recently had his challenge repeat, and it's probably worth looking at our recap from July 13th, 2023 to revisit why he is pretty good, even if you don't want to take advantage of his relatively unique passive, which is for basics, and in the current meta with Tantu Totem Master's Death Card, the real sort of star of your team with the maximum damage output almost has to be somebody who's your specialist. So that's not a huge surprise. It's interesting. We definitely like him a lot better than we expected. But the real revelation has been Arkham Knight Catwoman. In the past, we've tended to use her as the primary specialist, but it turns out she is really good as a secondary specialist because you can chain her basic tap combo after an unblocked special one. And you're probably thinking to yourself, what? What are you talking about? So when people talk about chaining, they usually mean getting a basic tap or swipe combo and then following up with an unblocked high damage special, which makes sense. Getting an opening for an unblocked special, very useful. Specials generally do way more damage than basic attack. So why would you want to do the opposite? Why would you want to reverse that? A low damage basic combo after a low damage special one that has bleed damage over time. This is where it makes sense to have her as a secondary specialist without either Tantu Totem or Master's Death Card. So just for clarification, it's important to know that when I say that we're chaining her basic combo, it isn't just a matter of timing. She can get her basic tap combo in even if the opponent has bars of power and could normally do a special. And this is really significant because in the game, specials prioritize over basic damage, and supers prioritize over specials. That means if one character is trying to do basic attack while the other character is trying to do special, the special will execute first. So the fact that she can get her basic combo in while the other character has power to do special, that is the sort of main criterion for deciding whether this is a real chain or whether you're just getting lucky. So even if it only kills time so that you can tag in someone else from your team, even if you don't do enough from your basic attack to knock out the opponent or to generate another bar, the ability to chain any attack is useful. What makes it even better is that because her damage over time doesn't rinse, there's a potential to get yourself up to another full bar of power to trigger another special one. And then you can just keep on stacking her specials, right? So it isn't just her own built-in damage over time from her specials, it's also damage over time from gears. So what you're seeing in these fights in the background are examples of optimizing this chaining. So the gear she's got is Iba Stick and Heart of Darkness to increase power generation. So there's a much higher chance that when she gets her tap combo in, she will reach the threshold for another bar of power. She's got Iba Stick and Heart of Darkness to add damage over time effects too. So that's 10% and 6% for a total of 16% of the opponent's health. And her passive means that the opponent will take the full effect of both damage over times, even if they tag out, in addition to the bleed damage over time from her special one. And this is super effective against someone with Astral Harness because the damage over time will keep on ticking off while they're off screen. And that means you can bypass a couple of Astral Harnesses and vulnerabilities. Quake Engine means that if the opponent has less than a bar of power, the amount of damage over time is boosted by 50%. And it also means that once you inflict some damage over time, it doubles again because it re-triggers when it finishes. So here's the important thing. The key to her ability to chain her basic after an unblocked special one is that her tap combo can hit the opponent on the ground. Since a successful special 1 creates a bit of space between Arkham Knight Catwoman and her opponent, the only other prerequisite for taking advantage of this is to have backed up the opponent enough so there isn't a lot of room behind them so that they can keep on backing up or getting knocked back. And the idea of being able to do a basic after you've knocked over your opponent with a special was from Elseworld Flash. In the past, when Bullet Time triggered, we used to be able to keep doing swipe combos continuously until Bullet Time was over, making the opponent basically do a version of the worm dance, because you keep on hitting them even before they've gotten up from getting knocked down. And I think the bigger lesson here with Arkham Knight Catwoman, at least, is that sometimes you can't unlock the true potential of a character until you play them, which we knew from all the months now of playing each challenge character, even if we didn't like them. But maybe more importantly, you need to be mindful and pay attention and be open to possibilities when you play with characters, even if they aren't your main damage dealer, which is what we're discovering with Arkham Knight Catwoman here. If we had been stuck with the idea that she had to be the primary specialist, we wouldn't have realized how good she could be as a backup offensive option. And sure, Arkham Knight Catwoman as a primary specialist, she's pretty amazing. But using her as a secondary specialist solves the problem of a Blackest Night Flash team. And that problem is, any team that generates damage over time from your main damage dealer runs the risk of getting smoked by a Blackest Night team where Flash will use damage over time to increase their health and increase power generation. And because Arkham Knight Catwoman does so much damage over time when she's on an Arkham Knight team, what you end up with is an opponent that's potentially just generating a huge amount of power, lots of heals so that whatever damage you do to them still can't knock them out. Now, when you face a Blackest Night Flash team with this version of the Arkham Knight team, you can leave her on the bench with only minimal cost to your damage output because your main damage dealer is Arkham Knight the Arkham Knight. And with any other team that's not the Blackest Night Flash team, you have the option to bleed out opponents that are geared or set up to take limited damage from our primary specialist. Really great. So let me show you a few examples of that. So we'll wait for this fight to finish out, and then we're going to focus on a few examples where you really see the beauty of this ability or strategy. It's a bit all right. So here's everybody's gear. Just a quick recap. The first person is usually not a problem. Because of the timing, you can usually get the first one knocked out with Arkham Knight's Special 2. No problem. He snuck in a bit. Static blocks, meaning Arkham Knight doesn't get his power back, so we need to tag him out. And because Static was dumb enough to do a basic combo against us when we tag in Catwoman, despite having 2 bars of power, we get the chance to keep him from doing anything. And we chained it. We chained our basic, and then we were able to do a Special 2. And look at all that damage over time that transfers to Green Arrow because of Quake Engine, which you can see quickly drained his health. No problem. Easy fight. Yeah, New 52 Shazam is always a pain in the butt because of his passive. He comes back in invulnerable unless you can bypass the level of health that will trigger his tag out. And unfortunately, we did not. He's going to tag out. He's going to come back invulnerable and be a big pain in our butts. So right now, Flashpoint Batman did not have enough power to start, but once we do Catwoman Special 1, he does have a full bar of power, but he doesn't use it. You saw how we chained our basic tap combo to knock him down from the Special 1, and we easily took care of him. And we're just killing time now for the invulnerability. And the beauty of this team with Arkham Knight Batgirl is we don't really have to worry. All he's going to do is just stun himself as Arkham Knight Batgirl comes in. Now, here's New 52, Shazam. I mean, we do more than enough damage that would knock out almost anybody if it weren't for his passive being invulnerable. So what we can do is try to keep him off balance. We've got Arkham Knight with the skulls to keep on locking him out of his specials, but he sneaks one in. And we gotta wait for that animation that shows, there we go, he's vulnerable. Oh, he had a revive. Yeah, he's not gonna make it. All right, so that was good. No problem. It's really neat, right? It's a great ability. It's maybe not the best strategy for the most important parts, the main damage that you're dealing, but it's a great backup, great secondary specialist. Okay, John Stewart, Green Lantern's passive is going to be potentially a pain in the butt. Yeah, there we go. His invulnerability from his passive means we don't get our power back. But see how Jessica Cruz has her first bar of power? But we did a basic combo. She doesn't get the chance to use that power because we were chaining Catwoman's basic attack. Right? Because no matter what your main strategy is, there's always going to be times where something happens that you aren't able to execute it. And this is a great backup. All right, Prime. Raven Prime is a bit of a pain. Clearly she's got Mother Box. She's wasting her time. And then she wastes our power by blocking. Sometimes I like just building up some power and not using it right away, if only because we need it a little bit later for two flashes who are going to give us a hassle with our specials strategy. So she wastes her time again. And as you may have noticed, the opponent seems to blink against special 2s much more often than the 30% that Mother Box promises. Okay. All right, finally we get a chance to use that power that we've built up with Catwoman. Raven's passive, which is normally a bad thing for us. It gives us a chance to stack more damage over time attacks that can re-trigger on Wally West, who would otherwise be jumping away from our specials. All right, all gone. All it took was the tag in with Master's Death Card to knock out Wally West Flash, who would otherwise be a bit of a hassle in a team that relies on specials. And that is our Injustice multiplayer strategy for this week. A big thank you to our supporters, our patrons on Patreon. That would be Alexis M supporting us on the Your Message Here tier, Michael Devries, Irvin Ruiz, and Hoshi127 who are supporting us on the credited level, and all the generous people who have supported us at some point during this pandemic. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Komoda.